Hello everybody, my name is Ezzen. Here with the Ezzen project for automating community kitchens. Today I wanted to kind of go over some of the technologies that I discussed in my various postings and give you kind of a visual of some of the ideas behind the technologies. Today we're going to be covering the idea of upcycling, recycling, or reusing all of the many home appliances that are available to all of us today through Target, Cuisinart, Ninja, KitchenAid, all those many different devices that people use in their homes every day for cooking for their families and loved ones. All of those can have some sort of mechanical framework built around the structure that they already have, so they can be plugged into an automation framework and controlled by a central computer so that they can be added into an automated kitchen. All that sounds nice. I'm going to go through a number of examples now with some of my own kitchen appliances to show you kind of what I had in mind or what the idea is behind all this. If my camera can focus, thank you. Okay. So first up, we'll go ahead and cover the mixer, the stand mixer. These are easy enough. On the other side, you've got your little lever here that makes it go to different speeds. All you really need for this is just linear actuator, and it can push the little lever here to the different speeds, and obviously the linear actuator would be able to push this, and it would take a little finagling and some testing to get it to push so that it hits the next rung correctly, but all that can be done fairly easily, and it's pretty straightforward. The other aspect of at least this KitchenAid, raising and lowering of the mixer so that it can actually mix the ingredients in here. And this can actually just be, this part right here can just be either replaced or augmented with a stepper motor or just an electric motor to make it move up so that you can stir everything and then move down to take it out when you're done. One of the things that will be a little more complex, and this is where some of the robotic arms and other implements that are part of the larger framework would be needed, is actually lifting the basket up and out of where it is placed. That part will be a little more complex, but it is, again, doable like all of this. But just want to show you for stand mixers, linear actuator to make sure the speeds can change and control it through that method, and then just a motor that can make it raise or lift, kind of like the motor that's actually within this device, but implemented differently just to make sure this can move up and down. Next up, we have our hot water heater. This is used to boil water for coffee and tea mostly. This can actually be a nice way to quickly boil water for soups or ramen or all sorts of other canned or packaged goods. If you have an automated kitchen with just like 10 of these things and you just constantly have them boiling water, that'd be a great way to skip the whole need of using your oven or your stovetop to boil large pots of water. You can have probably 6 or 7 of these constantly just boiling water so that by the time you have all the ingredients for a soup made, a couple of these have been running, you put the ingredients for your soup in a pot, and then you pour in the boiling water from a couple of these hot water heaters. It's already boiling, you just put it on the stove to let it simmer for a good hour or two, and then you've got your soup already made. You don't need the extra 20 minutes waiting for the big pot of water to boil on the stove. You just use these guys, and it's done in a couple of minutes, helping reduce the time to create soups and other items that need hot water. On the front end, though, you have, let's see if it'll focus. There we go. You have a lot of these little buttons, as well as this little open thing to open the top. There are push solenoids, which are just another electromechanical device. But if you had a couple of push solenoids and a little array here, you could have a computer control those push solenoids and send a signal to the solenoid to then push each of these buttons. The buttons you push in what order do matter. So when it's on the little electric boiler thing or electric conduit, you need to hit your temperature first, and then you hit start. And if you want it to stay warm and stay at that temperature, you just add the keep warm button to that. And obviously all these different hot water boilers will have their own different buttons to pick and press. But once you add a couple push solenoids to all of these and to this, you can fairly easily just program a computer to make the different solenoids press in certain orders depending on the temperature of the water that you need, and basically just automate boiling hot water for any of your cooking needs. Setting that aside, next up we'll go to the Ninja blender. Obviously taking these on and off will be pretty easy. You just there is a locking mechanism to make sure that it sits in place. So whatever arm picks these up and puts them in will have to twist it into place, and there will either be a sound sensor or a like a friction sensor or something like that to make sure that there is a lock. And actually I'll pull this up to the mic off to the side. So when you actually lock this, there's that click to show that it is actually locked in place, and then you can start blending things correctly. But these guys, nice and easy. Again, you put a couple of push solenoids where the buttons are, and that'll allow you to turn it on, and then you can put it on medium, high, pulse. You can make it a smoothie, whatever values your blender has, because all these different blenders have their own little frameworks and little buttons to choose from different options built in, programmed into the machine. Again, all you need, a couple of push solenoids, press the buttons using a computer, and the computer orders the different solenoids to do whatever you need to blend things correctly. A little more complex, you have your pressure cooker. Taking the top of this on and off, fairly straightforward. You just need to make sure that it's in the right orientation so that it can click and then be taken off. There is the little steam or pressure release valve up here. Again, putting a press solenoid up here will allow you to, whenever things are done cooking fully, you just press this and that'll activate the system to allow all the pressure and steam to release from inside the pressure cooker. Beyond that, you have this nice big array, camera, thank you, this nice big array of different functions and different things that your pressure cooker can be used for. There will need to be a little bit of finagling and testing to make sure that all of the different settings on each different pressure cooker is factored into the computer. So the computer will have a listing of the different pressure cookers available to it, and then depending on the pressure cooker, it'll send different signals to different solenoids to press these different buttons in order so that you can then pressure cook the food. That is automating pressure cookers. Again, fairly straightforward. Next up, probably one of the easiest devices to automate. You've got your crock pot or other slow cookers of various kinds. You just throw in all the ingredients, and then you have a little stepper motor or motor of some kind move the dial to the correct setting. whether you want low, high, or to just maintain heat. Honestly, if you have probably 10 of these, you can slow cook meals for dozens of people throughout the day. It will be a little heavy to take these in and out, and then it'll need to be factored in that these are actually hot. But a lot of the different, I'm planning on having a lot of the different robotic arms that help move warm foods and meals, pots and pans, to a serving area or to a portioning out area. A lot of those will have heat protection just to make sure that they don't break, they don't get worn out, and they're able to withstand the heat of an oven or a slow cooker or a pressure cooker or anything else that is very hot and used to cook foods. Next up, you have your air fryers. So this part pulls in and out, and that's where you put your food. Easy enough to have a robotic arm kind of pull that in and out. And then again, you've got all your different buttons up here. Just use push solenoids. The main computer can send the commands. You press the buttons in the correct order to put it on high or whatever temperature you need for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you need it to cook the food, and then hit start. Whenever the timer ends, you just shut it off, pull the ingredients out, and you've got your fresh food. Next up, you have your different devices like microwaves. A little more complex than others, but you have your door that you have to open and close. Again, you can use kind of like a linear actuator. If you have that on kind of like a swivel, you can easily have the push or the linear actuator push this open, and then when you need it to close, it'll start to retract back into itself, and that'll close it, allowing you to open the microwave door automatically based on your computer. And then you have little automated pushers that push the buttons. Next up, you have your stovetop. This is a newer stove, so we have mostly buttons. So again, push solenoids to push the different buttons so that you can set your oven to bake at a certain temperature. Every oven will have its own unique array of buttons in different arrangements that will need to be factored into the way that the push solenoids are added to this device. But once that is added and the different buttons and different settings are programmed into the computer can send automatic signals to the different valves to press the buttons to turn on your oven. You can set different timers. You can turn the oven off and on, all of that automatically with the different pushes. One of the other things that will need to be automated for a lot of ovens are your stovetops. There are electric ones, which are slightly easier because you just turn the dial, you wait a minute or two, a couple of minutes, depending on how high you need it to, or how hot you need that electric stove top to get, and then you just, whenever it's hot enough or as it's heating up, you put your pots and pans with your food ingredients on there, and it starts to cook, and then you do all the various processes to cook foods. We have a gas oven. We're very lucky to have a gas oven, and I really enjoy it. One of the differences for gas ovens, though, is you need to have the igniter, there we go, I couldn't think of the word, light the natural gas. So turning these on, we'll need to make sure that not only does this dial push in, because that is actually what allows natural gas to start flowing to your stovetop burner for natural gas stoves. So there will be some mechanism to push the dial in, some mechanism to turn it, however long to start the igniter, And then once it starts, and after a set time, probably like 3 seconds or 2 seconds, again, there will be some experimentation to see what works and what doesn't. You can then turn the oven down to or not the oven, stovetop down to whatever setting you need, whether it be low, whether it be all the way up at high for boiling foods, or medium, whatever you need. But again, easy enough to automate. A lot of these, it should at this point be apparent that a lot of these appliance automation devices frameworks that can be added to these devices are push solenoids, linear actuators, mainly just those two. There are some that may need slightly more complex mechanical additions, but for the most part, if you have push solenoids and linear actuators, you can automate any home appliance. There are plenty of other home kitchen devices. These are just what I had available to use to demonstrate and show you today. A lot of community kitchens and professional kitchens will have very different setups, much more expensive devices, but all of those can again be automated and have just simple electromechanical devices added to press the different buttons in the correct order, to turn the dials the correct way, or to open and close doors, or take out bowls or other parts of the machine. All of that can be automated, taken, added, fixed, upgraded easily enough. The only challenge that a lot of this presents is there are hundreds of stand mixers. There are hundreds of air fryers. There are many different types of blenders. There are so many different types of ovens and stovetops, whether it be new, whether it be old. I remember some of the devices my Oma had back from the 50s that still worked. As long as it still works, it can be automated and added to an automated kitchen. That is the point of this project, is to not just build new expensive machines that can automatically cook meals for communities. The point is, we have a lot of families have stand mixers, blenders, they have coffee makers, they have water boilers, they have ovens, they have stoves. Even if you have just like a hot plate, all of that can be recycled, upcycled, and included in automated kitchens. It's great if we can build something nice and pristine that can create thousands of meals every single day, but what happens then to all these devices? We can recycle all the components and get rid of them, or in the meantime, before we can make that full transition to nice, pristine machines that can do everything without these devices, we can make use of all these devices. People are throwing these out every day. People are buying new ones, donating their old ones, getting rid of them, selling them on Facebook Marketplace or other places like that. My point is, we have tens of thousands, if not millions, of these home kitchen appliances available to us. We can use them to help end world hunger. We can automate them to make meals for us so that we can do whatever we want with our day. And so that is one of the core technologies Ezzen will pursue, automating a lot of these home kitchen appliances so that they can be included in a larger automated home kitchen or larger automated community kitchen framework. That's all I really wanted to cover with this video. Kind of again showing you part of the technology we'll be pursuing and we will be developing as we continue to work on this project. Beyond that, I will have a couple more videos like this for you in the future. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this content, if you're excited about the ideas and really want to support me, please see the links in the description below to go to my GoFundMe, where I would ask for your donation if you are able to donate. If you are unable to donate, I would simply ask that you share the GoFundMe and any of my media, I guess, with your friends and family. Any little bit helps, and spreading the word, getting the word out is what will make this possible. We can end world hunger. We can do it by automating machines that can make meals for all of us. And that's really what I'm trying to pursue. So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment in the video below. I look forward to continue working on all this. Thank you, and have a good day.